Hello, and welcome to Delta Module 1 Radio, the show where we dissect teaching practices with the precision of a surgeon and occasionally the flair of a stand-up comedian. I'm your host, Shady R, Abuyusuf, and today we're exploring classroom methodologies. Those things we do in a classroom every day and sometimes don't even stop to think, why on earth am I doing this? But don't worry, that's why we're here. Let's dig in. Now picture your last lesson. Did you tell your students not to speak in the first language, L1? Did you pair them up? Correct their errors at the end of the task? Or preset comprehension questions? Maybe you told them to read for gist and not stress about every single word. Encourage them to correct each other's mistakes, or elicited language rather than just giving it to them. If this sounds like a typical Tuesday, you're not alone. These are standard practices in many classrooms. But have you ever wondered, are these always good ideas? Let's break it down. Take the age-old practice of banning L1. The logic is simple. If students don't rely on their first language, they'll think directly in the target language, L2. Great in theory, but let's be honest. Telling students not to use their L1 is a bit like telling someone not to think about pink elephants. The moment you say it, that's all they'll do. And truth be told, their L1 isn't some pesky intruder. It's a resource. Compare grammar structures, borrow a word or two when stuck, and voila, L1 becomes your trusty sidekick instead of the villain. Pair work. Oh, the joys of pairing students. It maximizes a student talk time and fosters independence, or at least that's the goal. In reality, you might end up with one student chatting away while the partner nods politely, dreaming about dinner. Still, when it works, it's pure magic. Just remember, it's okay to shuffle the pairs occasionally. Even the best partnerships need a break. Just ask any married couple. Now, what about delayed error correction? The idea is to let students complete tasks without interruption, promoting fluency and giving us diagnostic gems to work with. But let's face it, sometimes it's like watching someone put pineapple on pizza. You want to jump in and stop them immediately. Timing is everything, folks. Know when to hold back and when to step in. Setting comprehension questions before a reading or listening task is another favorite. It activates the schemata and builds curiosity, which is fancy talk for gets them thinking. But be careful not to overdo it. If you spend 20 minutes discussing the questions, your students might forget there is a text involved altogether. Then there's just reading, telling students not to worry about every word. A great way to reduce anxiety, right? But let's not pretend students don't occasionally rebel by looking up every single word on Google Translate. That's okay. It's part of the journey. Just guide them back to the bigger picture, like a GPS recalculating a very stubborn route. Student-to-student correction is another gem. It builds camaraderie, maximizes talk time, and reduces the teacher's dominance. Of course, it can also lead to some memorable moments, like one student confidently correcting another with a completely wrong answer. But hey, mistakes are where the real learning happens, right? Finally, eliciting language instead of handing it over on a silver platter. It encourages active participation and lets you assess what students really know. But let's not forget, elicitation can feel like a game of charades gone wrong if the teacher's prompts are too obscure. Come on, it starts with P and rhymes with Ran or Rama. Any guesses? Clarity is key here. At the end of the day, Every practice we use, no matter how basic, is grounded in some kind of methodology. Some are brilliant, others, well, let's just say, they need a little tweaking. As Delta candidates, your job is to critically evaluate these practices. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Does it work for my students? Could it be done differently? Remember, teaching isn't about blindly following trends. It's about tailoring your approach to meet your learners' needs. That's all for today's episode of Delta Module 1 Radio. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've learned something, laughed a little, and maybe even questioned a few of your own practices. Join me next time as we uncover the weird and wonderful history of ELT methodologies. Spoiler alert, there is a method called the silent way. And yes, it is as awkward as it sounds. This is Shady R, Abuyusuf, signing off. Until next time, keep teaching, keep reflecting, and most importantly, keep having fun in the classroom. Take care. Bye-bye.